Welcome to Auction version 4, the event management software tool from Auction Systems. This video in the Data Exchange series is an introduction to merging projects together. What is merge? Merge allows you to combine two projects into one. In order to have merge capability, your license must be a network license. If your organization has a license for V4 Network Edition, or you have a cloud-only subscription for your event, or an annual subscription for V4, you have a network license. Single-user license holders cannot merge even if they have purchased cloud as an add-on to the single-user license. Why merge? When there is unique data in separate projects, merge allows you to combine the unique data into a single project. If you have a network license and have access to a network of computers with a shared server, you can have multiple people entering different data into a single project. In this situation, there is no need to merge because everyone is accessing the same project. You also don't need to merge if you're using cloud to allow users to work in the same project online. But sometimes a network of computers is not available and you're not using cloud. You can still have team members working on different parts of the project in separate projects stored on their own computers. You may have one team member working on reservations, entering people who have purchased tickets, entering their ticket purchases, entering their payments, assigning bid numbers, assigning tables, and even printing name tags and other documents. Another team member may be tasked with entering live items and their donor information. This person could be assigning item numbers, printing display placards, and even designing parts of the catalog for the live items. Another person could be working on the silent auction, entering silent items and their donors. This person could be printing bid sheets and other documents associated with the silent items, and even designing the silent item catalog sections. These different projects can be merged together. Since there are 3 projects in this example, merge 2 of the projects first, and then once they are merged into one, merge in the 3rd project. There are some considerations you should be aware of if you're going to merge. If 2 people, let's say Carol and Bob, start out with identical projects that have a list of names of donors and invitees, and only Carol made changes and additions to her copy of the project, Bob made no changes or additions to his copy, there is no need to merge Carol and Bob's copies of the project together because Carol has everything that Bob has and more. If Bob needs to see the complete project that Carol has, Carol can make a backup of her project and email it to Bob. Bob will overwrite his project by restoring the backup that Carol emailed to him. Another consideration, only merge when necessary. Some organizations decide to merge on a regular basis in the months and weeks before the event. While this is possible, to do this effectively, the person who is doing the merge must ask the other team members to send them a backup of their own data and then have everyone stop working. The projects are merged together and then a backup of the merged data is sent back to each member of the team who will then overwrite their projects with the backup of the newly merged data before they can continue working. I think this is unnecessary. The person working on reservations really has no need to see the silent items and vice versa. Rather than stopping work on a regular basis while a merge takes place, I suggest that each person working on a project change the name of their project to their tasks, such as silent items, live items, reservations, etc. If you have a team member who needs to see progress, each team member can regularly send a backup to the team leader who can restore from backup and look at each person's data without overwriting each other's project, because restoring will only overwrite a project that has the same name. If each team member has their own unique project name, a new backup will only overwrite their own previous version of the project. The team leader can even practice the merge on a regular basis, but there's no need to send backups of the merged data to the team members. Each team member can continue working without needing a backup of the merged data. When it's time to finally merge, the team leader will take a fresh backup from each project and merge them together. Once this final merge takes place, rename the final merge project if necessary, and then any last-minute changes and additions must be done by the person in charge. All of the team members stop working completely. By the way, changing the name of a backup when you save it does not change the name of the actual project that backup was made from. To change the name of a project, you must go to the Maintenance and Repair task on the Main Home task ribbon. Another consideration, In a merge, Auction will look at each name and item record and see which one has been saved most recently. Many organizations create new projects for their new event by transferring names and contact information of invitees and donors from a previous project. Then they give this new project to more than one person so they can each work on their specific part of the event from their own homes, but they don't have to retype in names and addresses of people or companies. Teach your team members to not save an item or name record that exists in someone else's project too, unless they actually make a change to that name or item record. Let me give you an example. Bob has a copy of the preliminary project and he is entering new reservations into his copy of the project. On September 1st, Bob gets a reservation from Tom Miller and he realized that Tom Miller is already in his project as Thomas Miller. He knows Tom Miller personally and therefore knows that Tom prefers Tom to Thomas. So Bob makes that change in the name record and saves it on September 1st. Carol is entering items that are donated, and on September 17th, she happens to click on Thomas Miller by mistake, but does not make any changes to his name record. She could have just opened the name record of the person she really meant to look at, but instead, before leaving Thomas Smith, she hits the Save button, even though she had not made any changes. Later, Bob's project and Carol's project are merged together. The critical change was made by Bob on September 1st, and it has that save date in his project. In the merge, Auction recognizes that each project has a Miller record, but since Carol had saved the record without making any changes on September 17th, 16 days after Bob's change on September 1st, her Thomas Miller name took priority in the merge and Bob's change was dropped. If someone deletes a name or an item in their copy of the project, and that item or name also exists in another person's project, and the other person happened to save the item or name at a later date, whether they made a change or not, the item or name will come back in the merge since the delete was saved at an earlier date. So the upshot is, whoever saves the record last wins. So don't save a record unless you actually made a change to that record that you want to keep. Thank you for joining us.